Hello everyone. So 70 days are left before CAT 2025. And most of the students, they have this fear that only 70 days and I'm not done, I'm not prepared. Well, it's very natural. I've seen this for long, but hang on. CAT is not about formulae, CAT is not about theory, CAT is not about knowledge. CAT is about application. CAT is about stamina, smartness, endurance. And 70 days, you can actually make a big difference. You know what? The difference between securing 85 percentile and 99 percentile is about how you apply, execute, and how you stay afloat. That is the difference. So what I would like to do is, I would like to divide the entire video into four different aspects. The first is the change of mindset, the shift that is important. Second is, if you've got 70 days, let's try to divide 70 days into three phases. First phase, 1 to 30th day, then 31st to 50th, and then 51st to 70th day. And at the end, we'll see how we can actually make the best use of these 70 days. First and foremost, as I told you, it's a game of mindset. All you've got to do is you've got to change the mindset. How do you change the mindset? Well, the best way to change the mindset is to really try and apply all the previous knowledge that you have and tell yourself that in 70 days, I'm going to actually optimize and maximize everything that I have. And the shift can easily take place when you know that you don't have to really do everything. What people do is they end up trying to do everything. They cover the entire gamut of syllabi. Be selective and make sure that you make your strength strongest rather than focusing on weaknesses. I've seen this, maths, the syllabi is huge and students are wanting to do everything. Not at all. Be selective. Out of 25 topics, if you're good at 12, focus on 12. If you're not good at vocabulary at all in language, don't touch. Rather, optimize your strength, which could be logical reasoning, which could be critical reasoning or reading comprehension. If you can do that, I can tell you 70 days, you can make a big difference. That's the change of mindset and the shift that you can have. Once you do that, then you know that you are inching towards it. Don't you forget, if you're having 60 questions in CAT exam, all you've got to do is to actually have the energy, stamina, and the accuracy to do 40 odd questions, 35 odd questions, depending upon the background, the context that you're creating. So that's the first, change your mindset. Second, divide 70 days into three different phases. The first phase, 1st to 30th days. Well, this is one phase wherein you tell yourself that I'm going to divide my entire 30 days strategy into concept and test. What I would like to see is that you focus more on concept building. For example, English or language. So you focus on domains which are very important to you in reading comprehension. You focus on understanding how para formation or sequencing is cracked. You focus on how critical reasoning is captured and how certain concepts of grammar can be done. Like in maths also, you focus on algebra, you focus on number system, you focus on arithmetic, because these are areas from where maximum questions will come. Data interpretation, data sufficiency, logical reasoning, you focus on types of questions. So focus on concept and then mocks. Mock tests, don't try to write so many mock tests to begin with. Write maybe once in 8 to 9 days and analyze mock tests very effectively. Analyze sectional tests very effectively. So in first 30 days, focus more on concept and testing so that you feel. And after the analysis, you know that, okay, this is where I am and this is how I've got to go. After 31st to 50th day, my objective and my advice to you would be that you increase the intensity of sectional tests. And what you do is you write 2 tests in one shot and you write complementary tests. For example, verbal ability with data interpretation with maths. And you analyze those tests very well. And you increase number of mock tests, weekly tests from, let's say, 9 days to 6 or 5 days. One test in 5 days. And you analyze these tests like crazy. And more importantly, now you catch hold of past papers or past questions. There is a question bank that you've got to create. And while doing all the questions in every subject, categorize questions in terms of toughness. Easiest questions, you don't have to revise. Tougher questions, you have to look into it. Toughest questions, but important, you have got to revise before exam also. And then the last phase, which is 51st to 70th. Now this is where you've got to increase the intensity of annual mock test or all India test. Let's say once in every 2 days. So in 6 days, you write 3 mock tests and you analyze those tests like crazy. Spend 7 to 8 hours on one test, because analysis is not just about solving questions. It's about approaching every question in terms of how much time did you take, did you select the right question or not, can you categorize that question as toughest question or moderately tough question, how did you switch sections and still optimize, what's your stamina level, what is your accuracy level in terms of percentage, so many questions to be answered. And before CAT exam, last 5 days, you have a good question bank to revise, and then you have a mental framework to achieve what you want to. I can tell you, apart from all the technicalities and the questions that you're doing, keep your mental framework very positive. Be healthy, stay fit, make sure you have good sleep, and you have quality intake in terms of food and liquid diet. I can tell you, this can do wonders. So what we've seen in this video is last 70 days, you can really crack it if you have the right structure. In my next video, I'll talk about analyzing your strengths and weaknesses. Well, if you like my videos, and this is going to be a series of 35 videos in terms of CAT, do subscribe and share. I'm sure we can make a better community out of it. Thank you so much. Yeah.